Okay, this lesson is on writing proportions. Okay, example number 1. We are going to look at these words and transform it into a proportion to help us solve the problem. If you can buy 1 can of pineapple chunks for $2, then how many can you buy with $10? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is write the first ratio that we see. 1 can of pineapple cost $2. So to write it as a ratio, 1 can for $2. Okay? And to make it a proportion, we're going to look, okay, what other number are we dealing with? And that is $10. In a proportion, we want everything to match. So we are going to put our money with our money. So if we look at the first ratio, $2 is at the bottom. So we're going to keep $10 at the bottom as well. Okay? Then we are looking for how many cans are going to cost $10, so we're going to put an X there. Now we are going to learn how to solve proportions, but you can do this one mentally in your head. It's just equivalent fractions. So we know that 2 times 5 will give us 10, so 1 times 5 will give us 5 cans. So if 1 can costs $2, then 5 cans will cost 10. Okay, let's look at example number 2. 1 jar of crushed ginger costs $2. How many jars can you buy for $4? We're going to do the same thing. Looking at our first ratio, we know that 1 jar of ginger costs $2. Looking at our other number in the problem is $4. We want to make sure our money matches our money. So if $2 is at the bottom, $4 will be on the bottom as well. Then we're trying to figure out, okay, 1 jar costs $2, so how many jars will cost $4? As you look in our proportions, our jars match with our jars, our money matches with our money, and 1 jar costs $2. This matches as well. So we're trying to figure out how many jars cost 4. So we can use our mental math. We know that 2 times 2 is 4, so 1 times 2 is 2. So 2 jars of ginger would cost us $4. Okay, now we're going to write a proportion to find how many points a student needs to score on the test to get the given score. So if a test is worth 50 points, the test score, we want a test score of 40%. Okay, so I'm going to kind of get ahead of myself here because this can be used as a percent proportion problem. So, the way I'm setting my problem up is going to be the way I would set up a percent proportion. So, I'm going to start with my 40%. I know that a percent written as a fraction is always over 100. So, that'll be 40 over 100. That's how you write 40%. Well, we're wanting to set up a proportion, and this is a percent proportion. And what we are going to learn in the future, and what I will tell you now, is that a fraction, you should already know, is the top is the part and the bottom is the whole. So if you're looking at this 50, the test is worth 50 points. That is what the whole test is worth. So that is going to be at the bottom. We are trying to find the part of that 50 that will give us 40% on our test. So how many points out of 50 will give us 40%? And if you've done percent proportions before, we can read this as 40% of 50 is what? So we're going to find that out. Okay, we can use mental math here. We know that, let's see, 100 divided by 2 is 50. So 40 divided by 2 will give us 20. So we need 20 points out of 50 on our test to score 40%. Okay, here we're going to use the table to write our proportion. This one is fairly simple. We're not solving anything, we're just writing a proportion. So you want everything to match, and you want everything to be in order. So I'm going to just look at game 1. Our first ratio can be, okay, well, 12 points is going, in game 1 you got 12 points with 14 shots. So, 12 points with 14 shots. Well, if this was proportional in game 2, you got 18 points with W shots. Like I said, we're not solving here, we're just looking. And if you notice, my points match with my points, my shots match with my shots, my game 1 matches with my game 1, and my game 2 matches with my game 2. Okay, I want you to try these on your own, see what you can do.